majesty emerges, the Archangel Michael. His name, derived from the Hebrew Michael, resonates through the centuries with a meaning that challenges the very essence of celestial existence. Who is like God? This rhetorical question not only names the most prominent of the archangels, but also defines his very nature and mission. Michael is not just another angel among the celestial multitude. He occupies a position of unparalleled eminence, commanding the divine legions as the supreme general of God's armies. His presence in the angelic hierarchy is so fundamental that it transcends the barriers between the different Abrahamic traditions, being revered in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. In the Jewish tradition, Michael is often depicted as the great prince who stands by the children of Israel. The book of Daniel, in chapter 12, verse 1, proclaims, "At that time Michael, the great prince who stands guard over the sons of your people, will arise." This passage not only establishes Michael's importance, but also positions him as a divine guardian, an unwavering protector of the chosen people. Christian iconography, in turn, often depicts Michael in his celestial armor, wielding a sword or spear, ready to confront the forces of evil. This image is not mere allegory, but a reflection of his primordial function as a defender of divine justice and an unyielding combatant against darkness. In Islam, although not mentioned by name in the Quran, Michael, known as Mikal or Mikael, is recognized as one of the chief angels, responsible for bringing sustenance and knowledge to humanity. This multifaceted view of Michael in the three major monotheistic religions underscores his universal importance as a link between the divine and the earthly. Michael's position as leader of the heavenly armies is not an empty title. Scriptures and traditions speak of cosmic battles of unimaginable proportions, where Michael leads the forces of good against the hosts of evil. The book of Revelation in chapter 12, verses 7-9, describes one of these epic confrontations. There was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. This passage not only solidifies Michael's position as a celestial general, but also establishes him as the archenemy of Satan, the primordial adversary. The battle described is not merely a conflict of forces, but a struggle for the very essence of creation, where Michael represents divine will against the forces of rebellion and chaos. The strength and courage of Michael are recurring themes in countless legends and traditions. One particularly fascinating story comes from the apocryphal The Assumption of Moses, where it is said that Michael faced Satan himself in a dispute over the body of Moses. In this account, Michael, with his characteristic humility, does not dare to judge the devil, but simply declares, "The Lord rebuke you." This narrative not only illustrates Michael's power, but also his total submission to divine authority. Devotion to Saint Michael the Archangel spread rapidly in the early centuries of Christianity. Churches and shrines dedicated to him began to appear throughout Europe, with the famous Mont Saint-Michel in Normandy, France, being one of the most notable. This sanctuary, built atop a rocky island, not only exemplifies the veneration of Michael, but also symbolizes his position as guardian and protector, a spiritual fortress against the tides of evil. In the Catholic tradition, Michael assumes multiple roles of extreme importance. He is seen as the angel of death, guiding the souls of the faithful departed to paradise, a belief reflected in the prayer of Saint Michael. Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. Moreover, Michael is often associated with divine justice. In representations of the final judgment, he is frequently depicted holding a balance, weighing the souls of the dead. This powerful image places him not only as a warrior, but as an executor of divine will, determining the eternal fate of souls based on their earthly actions. Michael's influence extends far beyond the religious realm, permeating popular culture and the arts. His figure has inspired countless works of art, from Renaissance frescoes to modern sculptures. In literature, he appears in seminal works such as Paradise Lost by John Milton, where he is portrayed as God's champion against the rebellious forces of Lucifer. In modern times, Michael continues to be a figure of fascination and devotion. He is the patron saint of numerous professions and groups, including police officers, military personnel, and paramedics, reflecting his role as a modern state of Israel. Michael's permanence in the collective imagination speaks not only to his theological importance, but also to a profound human need for protection and justice in a world often chaotic and frightening. His figure represents the hope that no matter how dark the circumstances may seem, there is a greater force fighting for good and justice. As we delve into the complexities of the modern world, the figure of Michael continues to evolve and adapt. In an era of global challenges and existential uncertainties, he remains a symbol of resistance against the forces of evil, whether external or internal. His story is not just a tale of heavenly battles, but a constant reminder of the eternal struggle between good and evil, and of the role that each individual plays in this cosmic conflict. The story of Archangel Michael is intrinsically linked to one of the most cataclysmic events in Christian cosmology: the rebellion of Lucifer. This episode, known as the War in Heaven, represents a turning point in the celestial narrative, where divine order was challenged and Michael emerged as God's uncontested champion. Tradition holds that Lucifer, the most beautiful and brilliant of angels, was consumed by pride and ambition. His desire to elevate himself above the Creator triggered a conflict of cosmic proportions. It is at this critical moment that Michael stands out, not only as a warrior but as the embodiment of loyalty and humility before the divine. The name Michael, who is like God, takes on a new meaning in this context. It is not merely a rhetorical question but a battle cry, a declaration of faith in the face of Lucifer's arrogance. While the rebel proclaimed, "I will be like the Most High," Isaiah 14:14, Michael responded with his very existence, "No one is like God, and no creature can aspire to such a position." The ensuing battle is vividly described in the Book of Revelation, but echoes of this conflict can be found in various ancient traditions. In Canaanite mythology, for example, we find parallels in the struggle between Baal and Yam, representing the conflict between order and chaos. These converging narratives suggest a universal truth about the nature of good and evil, pride and humility. Michael's triumph over Lucifer was not just a military victory, but a cosmic affirmation of divine order. The rebel angel, now known as Satan, was cast out of heaven along with a third of the angelic hosts that followed him. This event not only solidified Michael's position as the most powerful of archangels, but also set the stage for the drama of human history. With Lucifer's fall, Earth became the battleground of an ongoing spiritual war. Michael, having proven his worth in the heavens, took on the role of guardian of humanity against the onslaughts of the forces of darkness. This new chapter in his mission is evidenced by various appearances and interventions recorded in the Old Testament. One of the most notable mentions of Michael in the biblical text occurs in the book of Daniel. The prophet, exiled in Babylon, receives visions of the future and is visited by a celestial being who makes direct reference to Michael. In Daniel 10:13, we read, "But the prince of the kingdom of Persia resisted me for 21 days. And behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia." This passage is revealing for several reasons. First, it establishes Michael as a being of immense power, capable of intervening in matters of global importance. Second, it suggests a celestial hierarchy in which Michael occupies a prominent position. And third, it implies that the spiritual battle initiated in the heavens continues to be waged on the earthly plane, with Michael playing an active role in protecting God's people. Michael's intervention was not limited to prophetic visions. Jewish tradition attributes to him various miracles and interventions during crucial moments in Israel's history. One particularly powerful legend places him as the angel who stopped Abraham from sacrificing Isaac, substituting the young man with a ram at the last moment. This story, though non-canonical, illustrates Michael's role as an agent of divine mercy, intervening to save lives and guide the course of sacred history. Another significant appearance attributed to Michael occurs during the Exodus. He is believed to have been the angel who guided the Israelites through the desert in the form of a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. This tangible manifestation of divine protection reinforces Michael's role as guardian and guide of the chosen people. Michael's presence in the Old Testament is not limited to direct interventions. His influence can be felt in moments of improbable military victory, such as when Gideon, with only 300 men, defeated a vastly superior army. Such victories were seen as evidence of divine intervention, with Michael often credited as the instrument of that intervention. As history progresses, Michael's role evolves from celestial warrior to a figure of judgment and mercy. In the book of Zechariah, he is depicted defending Joshua the high priest against the accusations of Satan. This scene foreshadows Michael's role as advocate for souls in the final judgment, a belief that would gain strength in later Christian tradition. The transition from the Old to the New Testament marks a subtle, yet significant shift in how Michael is perceived. While in the Old Testament he is primarily a warrior and protector, in the New Testament and subsequent Christian tradition, he assumes a more complex role, incorporating aspects of justice, mercy, and divine judgment. This evolution in the understanding of Michael reflects the changing spiritual needs and perceptions of humanity over time. From a military defender against physical threats, he becomes a protector against spiritual dangers, a guide for souls, and a symbol of resistance against evil in all its forms. The figure of Michael, therefore, serves as a bridge between the Old and New Testaments, between law and grace, between justice and mercy. His journey through the scriptures and tradition reflects humanity's own spiritual journey, always striving to find balance between the divine and the human, between heaven and earth. As we progress through the biblical narrative, we arrive at the climax of the sacred story, the Apocalypse. In this enigmatic and prophetic book, Archangel Michael resumes his role as the celestial general, leading the forces of good in a final battle against evil. The Apocalypse of John, chapter 12, verses 7-9, presents us with a cosmic vision of this spiritual war. There was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down. He is the ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He and his angels were thrown down to the earth. This passage is remarkable for several reasons. First, it reaffirms Michael's role as God's champion, now not only defending heaven, but actively expelling the forces of evil. Second, it establishes a direct connection between the original celestial war and the events of the end times, suggesting a cosmic cycle of conflict and redemption. The battle described in the Apocalypse is not merely a repetition of Lucifer's original rebellion. It represents the climax of the entire history of salvation, where the forces of good and evil face off in a final confrontation. Michael, in this context, is not just a warrior, but a symbol of God's ultimate victory over evil. The image of Michael defeating the dragon has become one of the most powerful and enduring representations in Christian art. This iconography not only illustrates the apocalyptic battle, but also serves as a symbol of personal triumph over sin and temptation. In many traditions, Michael is invoked as a protector against demonic forces, a role that derives directly from his apocalyptic function. Michael's role in the Apocalypse also establishes him as a central figure in the Christian concept of eschatology, the study of the last days. In many traditions, Michael is seen as the angel who will sound the final trumpet, announcing the last judgment. This belief is rooted in the passage from 1 Thessalonians 4:16. For the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a cry of command, with the voice of an archangel, and with the sound of the trumpet of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. Michael's association with the Last Judgment has led to the development of a rich tradition of devotion and artistic representation throughout history. In the Middle Ages, Michael was often depicted holding a scale, weighing the souls of the dead, an image that combines his role as a celestial warrior with that of executor of divine justice. This devotion to Saint Michael the Archangel quickly spread throughout Christendom, transcending cultural and denominational boundaries. In the East, the Orthodox Church venerates him as the Archistrategos, or Supreme Commander of the Heavenly Hosts. In the West, the Catholic Church recognizes him as one of the 7 archangels and the prince of the celestial militias. One of the earliest and most famous shrines dedicated to Michael is Mount Gargano in Italy. According to tradition, Michael appeared there in the 5th century, marking the beginning of a long history of pilgrimages and devotion. This shrine set a standard for many other sacred sites dedicated to Michael throughout Europe, such as Mont Saint-Michel in France and St. Michael's Mount in England. The veneration of Michael was not limited to the construction of shrines. Over the centuries, prayers, novenas, and specific devotional practices have been developed in his honor. One of the most well-known is the Prayer of St. Michael, composed by Pope Leo XIII in 1886 after a supposed vision of the conflict between good and evil. This prayer, which asks for Michael's protection against the forces of evil, has become an important part of Catholic piety. In art, Michael has been a constant source of inspiration. From Byzantine mosaics to Renaissance paintings, he is often depicted in his celestial armor, wielding a sword or spear against the dragon or demons. Artists such as Raphael, Guido Reni, and Luca Giordano created masterpieces that capture the majesty and power of the Archangel. Michael's influence extends beyond the religious sphere, permeating popular culture and folklore. In many European traditions, he is associated with harvests and weather, invoked for protection against storms and to ensure good crops. This association likely derives from his traditional feast day, celebrated on September 29th, which coincides with the end of the harvest in many regions. In the modern era, devotion to Michael has taken on new forms. He is the patron saint of numerous professions, including police officers, military personnel, and paramedics, occupations that reflect his role as protector and warrior. Many organizations and institutions bear his name, from hospitals to military academies. The figure of Michael has also found its way into contemporary literature and popular culture. In works such as John Milton's Paradise Lost, he is portrayed as a complex and multifaceted character. In modern fiction and popular media, Michael often appears as a powerful guardian or as a symbol of the struggle between good and evil. As we enter the 21st century, the figure of Michael continues to evolve and adapt to the ever-changing spiritual and cultural needs. In an increasingly globalized and interconnected world, Michael serves as a transcultural symbol of protection and divine justice. His story, which spans millennia and crosses cultural boundaries, reminds us of the eternal struggles between light and darkness, good and evil, that continue to shape our human experience. Ultimately, the story of Archangel Michael is more than a tale of celestial battles or religious devotions. It is a testament to humanity's ongoing quest for meaning, protection, and justice in an often chaotic and frightening universe. Whether as a celestial warrior, a divine judge, or a personal protector, Michael continues to capture the imagination and inspire the faith of millions around the world. His journey through sacred and secular history reminds us that no matter how dark the times may seem, there is always a force fighting for good, for justice, and for light. Archangel Michael, in all his glory and power, stands as an eternal symbol of that